There's a massive difference between a player who occasionally talks trash and a once-in-a-generation superstar who fully embraces being the league's ultimate predator. For years, the WNBA establishment has tried everything to slow Caitlin Clark down. Technical fouls, upgraded screens, endless criticism, and a hostile media environment were all supposed to force her into submission. They expected her to apologize, stay quiet, and defer to the veterans. Instead, after dismantling the Golden State Valkyries, Clark stepped to the podium and delivered a message that shook the league. She isn't apologizing. She isn't backing down. And if the league wants to fine her, she'll gladly pay the price. Welcome back to WNBA Pro. Today we're tearing apart the most fearless and unapologetic press conference of Caitlin Clark's career. From the psychological warfare on the court to the cold hard evidence from the post-game media session, this was the moment Clark officially proved she has conquered the WNBA old guard. If anyone thought the tension with Tiffany Hayes and the Valkyries would make Clark retreat, they completely misread the situation. We're breaking down how Clark destroyed the trash talk narrative, exposed the media's fake defensive criticism, and revealed the alarming coaching issues surrounding the Indiana Fever. Let's dive into the masterpiece of confidence and defiance that Caitlin Clark just unleashed on the basketball world.
Oh, no way. Oh, it just makes sense for the refs tonight, so I'm not surprised. Wow, I could have got ejected. I should have been a little safer in the second half. Okay, well, guess I have some fines coming my way. And a flagrant. Wow. Well, the refs were interesting, but I'm not going to say anything else because obviously I got probably $1,000 worth of fines coming my way, but I was just trying to get the rebound and I didn't know I got a technical foul, but thanks for letting me know. I appreciate it.
The press conference opened with reporters asking Clark about the intense altercation with Janelle Salon that resulted in a technical foul. Clark's reaction was pure superstar confidence. She genuinely looked surprised and asked, "Oh, did I get a technical? No way." Then, with a smirk that instantly went viral, she casually dismissed the officiating by saying, "Well, it just makes sense for the refs tonight, so I'm not surprised." There was no rehearsed apology. No fake remorse. No attempt to soften the moment for public relations. Clark openly acknowledged the fines were probably coming, joking that the league might be taking $1,000 from her wallet. And that's exactly when it became obvious the WNBA had already lost the psychological battle. When a 24-year-old franchise superstar laughs at your disciplinary system in front of the cameras, your punishments no longer carry any fear. The fines mean nothing. The technical fouls mean nothing. Clark exists on a completely different cultural and financial level than the system trying to control her. Then came the trash talk discussion, including the moment she drilled a logo 3 over Tiffany Hayes and told her to step up. Instead of backing away from the villain role, Clark embraced it completely.
Yeah, I think that's just being a competitor. And that's what's fun. That's what I love about it. And I think that's what gets the crowd into it too and gets my teammates hyped up. And I think there's times I can probably find a little bit better of a balance because doing all that is a little bit exhausting too. But I just love the game. I love being out there and I love those moments and getting the crowd hype and
Clark flat out admitted that she loves the competitive fire. "That's what's fun," she said. "That's what I love about it." And with that statement, she exposed the truth the WNBA establishment refuses to acknowledge. Fans don't tune in for robotic, emotionless basketball. They want intensity, rivalries, and unapologetic competitiveness. Clark understands exactly what today's audience craves, and she's feeding off the chaos. She admitted the emotional energy can be exhausting, but she made it crystal clear that those moments fuel her game and energize her teammates. The league wants calm and controlled narratives, but Clark is turning every game into must-watch television. Yet this press conference wasn't only about emotion and trash talk. Clark also used the opportunity to completely destroy the narrative surrounding her defense. For over a year, critics and veteran players have painted her as a defensive liability. During the game, the Valkyries aggressively targeted her in isolation sets, trying to attack her one-on-one at the top of the key. Clark looked directly at the media and shut the narrative down. She confidently explained, "There's definitely a narrative that I'm not a good defender, but I can guard. I'm long, I know angles, and I can get my hands out."
Yeah, I think Steph's really challenged me on the defensive end, and I think there's probably definitely a narrative of me not being a great defender, but I can guard. I'm long, I know angles, and I can get my hands out. I can be.
Then Clark delivered the truth that many analysts refuse to acknowledge. Opposing teams attack her defensively because they know she carries the heaviest offensive burden on the floor. She's bringing the ball up against full court pressure on nearly every possession, orchestrating the offense, and still being asked to defend at a high level. The strategy isn't about exploiting weakness. It's about trying to wear her down physically. But despite the fatigue, Clark stood her ground. She stayed disciplined, cut off driving lanes, and forced the Valkyries into difficult contested shots all night long. The mismatched Golden State thought they had completely disappeared. While Clark controlled the perimeter, Aaliyah Boston dominated the interior. Boston ripped down 16 rebounds and controlled the paint with authority. During the press conference, Boston credited positioning and smart shot selection from the guards, but the chemistry between her and Clark is becoming terrifying for the rest of the league. When Clark commands double teams from 30 feet away and Boston punishes defenders inside, Indiana's offense becomes nearly impossible to solve. But even while the players performed at an elite level, another major issue was exposed during the same media session. The coaching staff looked completely disconnected from what was happening on the floor.
Good position, getting down low, trying to roll out hard, and then guards taking great expected shots, and I was just right there to rebound. Thank you.
Later in the press conference, a reporter asked head coach Stephanie White about Clark not realizing she had received a technical foul earlier in the game. White's response should send alarms through the entire Indiana Fever organization. She admitted, "I didn't know she got a technical either. Nobody told us." Think about how unbelievable that is. The head coach of the Indiana Fever, surrounded by assistant coaches and staff members whose job is to monitor every detail of the game, had no idea her franchise superstar was one technical away from automatic ejection. Clark already had a flagrant foul in a heated, emotional game, and somehow the bench remained completely unaware of the situation. That's not a harmless oversight. That's a total communication breakdown at the highest level. If Clark had picked up another technical and been thrown out in the fourth quarter, the backlash would have been catastrophic. The reality is becoming impossible to ignore. The Fever players are winning because of their talent and toughness, not because the coaching staff is putting them in the best position to succeed. Meanwhile, the WNBA establishment is officially running out of answers. They tried physical intimidation, and Clark responded with logo threes and fearless trash talk. They attacked her defense and she shut opponents down. Caitlin Clark isn't retreating from the spotlight anymore. The league's most dangerous competitor is fully awake, and the rest of the WNBA suddenly looks completely unprepared for what's coming next.
Just said she didn't know she got the tech at halftime and said she could have gotten ejected, and I guess she said.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
Were you worried at all that she would have been ejected?
I didn't know that she got a technical either. So, I guess they announced it, but nobody told us. So, I thought the officials would have told us, but.
Group to close the third quarter.
Aaliyah Boston completely controlled the glass, hauling in an incredible 16 rebounds and dominating the paint from start to finish. During the press conference, Boston humbly credited her positioning and the smart shot selection from her guards, but the chemistry developing between her and Caitlin Clark is reaching a terrifying championship-caliber level. When Clark is forcing defenses to trap her 30 feet from the basket while Boston physically overpowers defenders under the rim, the Indiana Fever offense starts looking almost impossible to defend. Every possession becomes a nightmare matchup for opponents. But while the players are performing at an elite level, the same press conference also exposed a major concern that cannot be ignored. Despite the brilliance happening on the court, the coaching staff still appears completely disconnected and dangerously behind the action unfolding in real time.